An improvements presentation there, John.
John Allen, would you like to rise, please?
I believe you should have a copy of it.
Yes, sir. I do.
All right, so this summer we began work on the 2014 capital project. It's 2 years in the making, thanks to SED and their slow process of approving everything. But as soon as we began, we actually accomplished quite a bit over a short period of time. So I just want to give everybody a quick update as to where we're at. On the inset, you can see a large track on the tennis courts that was taken at the middle school. And then in the background, the main field, you can see a rendering of the new tennis courts. So there are 3 new tennis courts at OBMS and 3 new tennis courts at Royal Compton as well. So point of note, everybody always talks about doing the lowest responsible bidder. The contractor who did this work is actually the contractor who installed the tennis courts at the US Open this past year. So we have some pretty high quality tennis courts for the school and the community to use at this point.
Are you leaving them open for us to play on? No. Or are they going to be locked?
As it is now, unless I'm told otherwise, the custodians in the morning open it, and then the custodians in the evening are locked.
About the weekend. Evening, what time is evening?
Dark. I mean, it's, that should be dark. The weekends have not come up in any conversations that I'm aware of at this point, so unless the custodians are there, they've been locked.
And by the way, I saw the tennis courts are beautiful.
Yeah, they definitely came out. They definitely came out well. So,
Our tennis courts have never been locked on the weekends.
Right.
Hopefully they will not be locked on the weekends, because they've never been locked in the last
Yeah, middle school has always been
800
locked.
years.
Middle school is locked, the high school is not locked.
and to that point, as soon as I received several inquiries from the community regarding locking the tennis courts, and I said the only thing I'm doing is following what protocol has been in place in the past. To verify that, I actually came in on the weekend and the tennis courts at the high school were locked.
I play on the tennis courts.
I cannot speak to to what's supposed to happen. All I know is what happened on the days that I was.
Right, and also in all the districts that I know of, not that there are that many, but I played on, since I played tennis, I played on other districts, in other districts. The middle schools have always been locked for some reason. The high schools have always been open.
They weren't always locked. All last summer the boys played on it. RMS was open all last
RMS
summer.
is never locked.
Never locked.
Never locked?
Every time I
Never
went to
locked.
high school, there was never locked.
Nope.
High schools.
Okay, well, I can
I
only
hope
speak.
they're not going to be locked.
I agree.
Listen, I am not making decisions.
I
All
know
I'm
that,
doing
sir.
is following direction.
The alert security though, that I have seen children riding their radio controlled cars on the new surface because it's nice and smooth. So
That will not hurt the surface.
That's right.
If we mark up the surface,
It's no different.
Well,
Go ahead,
and you can say that, but one of the concerns that I have is I've seen kids on rollerblades playing hockey in the tennis courts. Now everybody would say, well, no harm, no foul, until those kids start checking each other into the netting, and the next thing you know, the fencing starts bellowing out and everything else. So there's a million different ways to look at it. The bottom line is if I hear everybody saying that we want to keep the tennis courts open, it's a very simple solution.
What about we have, the track's open, isn't it?
The track,
The track is open.
it is.
So the tennis court, the high school, at least at the high school should be open.
Like I said, I
He
don't
just
know.
has to work done.
I don't know if we want to reach out to Mark Delicate. I don't know if we want to reach out to anybody else in the district to find out why certain things have happened in the past. All I can do is what I'm telling you right now. Is I followed what I've witnessed in the past personally, and implemented that moving forward. So we can easily make any changes moving forward. That's simple. Another part of the repaving project that took place, Duffield. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but the road from First all the way to Easton, the district owns that. It was absolutely in horrible condition
For years.
before the summer. So not only did the board approve the main parking, but they also extended it from the Little League fields all the way out to the street as well. So we were able to get everything done with the exception of the parking lot, but the main field was done in its entirety at Duffield. In Boston, the main field as well was done. There's a small auxiliary parking lot off to the corner that was not done. We definitely need to do a little bit of work to bring that back up to standards. We also did a large swath of paving along the bus loop so that we got rid of all the dips and valleys so that the buses are level where they come to the curb. There's no water pooling or any of those things as well.
So, John, let me ask you a question. I know that area that you're referencing that was not done yet. At night, there is children that do use it. I guess they play deck hockey or roller hockey in that area. So that area does get beat up, and I think it should get done, and I think it's great that kids do play in that area. Is there something you need to do just so that it...
In all honesty, the best time to evaluate these parking lots is over the summer when we don't have them filled at 90% with cars. We have a lot of parking lots in this district that are in bad shape. And while I can appreciate that location as being one that needs some attention, there are others that are not worse. And it is not an inexpensive fix to do paving. So, you know, we've talked, we're starting to look forward to the next bond. You know, in the next couple of weeks, if need be, I can certainly come forward and start discussing some of those options, some of the things to put, you know, just seeds to you know, for everybody to think about as far as what we want to do for those funds and those projects moving forward. So anyway, so that was some of the simple stuff, some of the cherry on top of the sundae. This is one of those things that's behind the scenes that people really aren't aware of, that are really the cornerstone of this project. Heating and ventilation. That's the piece that when I arrived at the district, everybody talked about needing to be addressed. This is an indication of some of the steam traps. We have steam traps extensively through OBMS and Slocum. This picture was actually taken at Slocum on the picture on the left. You can see that there's a pipe that is actually running water. That was found probably about 200 feet from the main crawl space. So that was replaced, and you can see this final picture on the right as to the work being done properly. So by changing out these steam traps, we're going to substantially increase the efficiency of the system. One of the other pieces of the heating and ventilation is the new controls. District-wide, we're going to be addressing all the control systems for all of the unit ventilators, all the mechanical units up on the roofs. It is a monumental task in a district of this size. What they need to do is they need to run cabling from every single classroom, every single office, every single rooftop, and bring it down to a central location so that we can run a basic software program that will allow us to have better control over the infrastructure. About a few weeks ago, they started the process. This is only a snapshot. They obviously can't work in every single building at one time because of the extensive nature of it. High school, which is priority number one because of all the control issues we have there. They started that project at the same time that they started Slocum, and you can see they only got 15% of the high school done during that time frame because it is that big of an undertaking. That crew that was at Slocum finished Slocum, went down to Boston, got 95% of Boston. They should be done tomorrow night at Boston. Duffield's at 50%, and then Sycamore was slated to begin this week. One of the things I just talked to the contractors this morning about is actually taking the crew from Boston when they finish and pouring more help at the high school so that when the high school is done, we can actually work on those controls and get that building up and online as opposed to having multiple buildings at different degrees of completion. So that is an ongoing process, and anytime I get in front of the board and the community, I'll be updating these numbers until everything is at 100%.
John, are these controls all about heating control or different types of control?
Heating and ventilation, and any kind of air conditioning that may be through the district. So any of the mechanical units district-wide, this will address it.
Once they work with the controls at the high school, is there going to be heat in all the rooms? Is there going to be?
Well, there's heat in all the rooms now.
Is there?
There is one unit ventilator that I'm aware of that had mechanical problems at the end of last year that we decided not to repair because we were going to replace it this year as part of the capital project. Before the heating season is upon us, that will be in place. So I have been given assurances that we will not have any problems. Carbon Control is working as a subcontractor for the HVAC company that was awarded it. They are an absolutely phenomenal company. They are extremely responsive. They're located right down the road. I have to take them at their word that there is not going to be any heating issues at the high school.
Impressive.
So, well,
That's impressive.
and there are other things that we have done non-capital related to give us a little bit of level, a little bit of redundancy. One of the things when I arrived here at the district, non-capital related, so I'm sorry I digress a little bit, but heating at the high school, obviously it's something that's of concern. We have 2 large boilers that have all the capacity in the world to heat that building, provided they're both running. Last year we had an instance where they both failed on the same day, and we had major issues trying to get the building to temperature. Over the years, the high school has had a lot of mechanical equipment added to it for a variety of different reasons. There was a cogeneration system at one point, and there was also these small gas-powered boilers that were designed for the shoulder season as well. They were both abandoned completely when I got here. Since then, we've got 9 of the 12 small gas-powered boilers fully operational, so that if we were to lose a boiler, we would be able to fire all 9 of these up, and it would actually replace the services of one of the boilers. So now instead of just having 2 boilers, in essence, we have 3.
Well, I'm just gonna say, 4 years ago, I think I walked that building, every floor, some rooms were freezing, some rooms, windows were open because it was so hot. So if you made that turnaround, that's pretty impressive.
Well, one of the things, and to that point, that's why every single room is going to get new controls. So if you have a room that is constantly hot, the only way to control that is with these controls that will only open at a certain percentage, so that they're not getting flooded with the same amount of hot water that the other classrooms would. So this is what these controls are going to be regulating each of the classrooms much, much better than we can. That is the goal. So district-wide, there was a lot of masonry work that needed to be done. This happens to be a picture of the gymnasium wall in Cherokee. On the left-hand side, you can see a crack that runs down the wall from the ceiling all the way down to the wall. When the building was constructed, there should have been an expansion joint. There should have been some place for the new construction and the old construction to meet, so it would actually absorb some of the deflection that occurs. It was not there. So on the picture on the right, you can see the smaller bricks there. They actually cut out the area, installed an expansion joint, and caulked it so that the building can actually ebb and flow a little bit, and hopefully we won't have this problem. This is something that took place in many of the buildings in many different locations. We still have additional work to do. Interior, in particular the middle school gymnasiums, but you know, we were able to tackle a lot of these interior masonry repairs over the last couple of weeks and throughout the summer. One of the big projects that we took on this summer was dealing with the idle hour cafeteria. So we had a glue-on ceiling in that space. It was 1x1 tiles that were in various states of disrepair. If you look at this picture here, you can see a whole lot of cylindrical lights. We had small little light fixtures, approximately 85, I believe, 88 of them, throughout the space, and heat generating T8 fluorescent bulbs and everything else. So,
Did the tiles have asbestos?
no, they did not. No, they did not. So we were extremely fortunate with
Yeah, I
that
was gonna say,
because
that's, you're lucky.
any project like this, and that was fully vetted before we started any of the work. So as part of this project, we removed the entire ceiling. We are putting a new heating and ventilation system in this gymnasium as well. We were able to take all the ductwork that's associated with that, and we're going to be able to put it inside of the new ceiling and put a new suspended ceiling. And this is what the gymnasium looks like at this point. This is only 50% of the work. One of the things we're trying to schedule right now, and we've been in constant contact with the phys ed staff and the building principal down in Idle Hour, is starting Friday, it looks like we're going to be ripping up this floor. This floor has seen better days. It is wrinkled in several locations. We've actually had people trip and fall because of the amount of wrinkles that are down there. That is going to be torn up, and we're going to be putting a new multi-layer epoxy floor that has an 8-year warranty starting next week, actually.
So how come you're not doing wood, it's an epoxy flooring?
Because of the humidity levels, we can't do wood. Yes. And in fact, doing anything down there is fairly problematic. We're going to actually bring auxiliary heat in. We're going to bring in dehumidifiers so we can control the environment for the next 2 to 3 weeks, so that we can ensure that the installation is done without any kind of problems.
How long is this going to take? 2 to 3 weeks?
Yes.
During school?
They're not going to work during the school day, they're going to work after hours, but because we have multiple holidays over the next 2 weeks, the principal looked at the opportunity to get this work done, and the weather that we were typically fortunate to have in October, knowing that we, in most cases, we'll be able to put the gym classes outside, and the cafeteria down in the atrium, because we don't have large lunch periods, we can easily accommodate them down there. So they've already started making accommodations for any kind of scheduling conflicts that may exist. So at the high school, we're installing several new bathrooms. There are two student gang bathrooms and 2 new faculty bathrooms. You can see in the bottom left some of the tiles from the 1970s that were there. That was probably one of the better sections of floor and space. Unfortunately, I didn't think to take a whole lot of pictures prior to it, so that's about the only remnants and recollection we had of that bathroom. But you can see the work that's being done. New tile, new drop ceilings, LED fixtures. The partitions were finished and installed today, so we're hoping that by the end of the week we're going to be able to open those up for staff and students. So replacement ceilings and LED light fixtures. When this project was first proposed and approved, the thought was that we were going to leave the existing light fixtures, which were done in 2009 as part of an energy performance contract. When we started taking down the ceilings and we looked at the fixtures, we realized that they physically would not fit into the new ceiling for a variety of different reasons. So we were forced to scramble quite a bit. That being said, LEDs definitely became the answer that we needed. On the left, you can see what a typical room up at Duffield was. We had these pendant lights that hung from the ceiling. On the right, we decided to take the pendant lights and actually swap them out for LEDs. They're close to the ceiling, there's no shadows and everything else. So it turned out so much better than I could have imagined. It was a scramble. There were a lot of people involved in it, but it came together extremely well. So just to get an idea of the scope of work when we talk about the project and everything else, this is the number of ceilings, just ceilings that we're talking about in the district that were done. So 16 at Ronkonkoma, 17 classrooms and 4 multiple use spaces at Oakdale. Cherokee had 29 classrooms, along with a couple of staff spaces. Slocum had 11 classrooms, Duffield 10 plus a main hallway. Boston had 29 classrooms plus a few office spaces. Idlehour had 19 classrooms, 3 staff spaces, and the cafeteria. 131 classrooms were done in what amounted to a 6-week period. So we were extremely fortunate that the general contractor met every expectation in spades. I mean, I had a lot of anxious moments the last couple of weeks, but the fact that they were able to bring it together and the custodial staff was able to get the buildings absolutely ready to go was a testament to everybody involved.
Okay, so a question, are we now up to date with all the ceilings in the district?
We have a few small sections that still need to be replaced. They're actually included in the capital work, but because they were not instructional spaces, we decided not to push our luck and put them up before we could get to them. So over the breaks, we'll address them. But everything now at this point, I believe everything at this point has drop ceilings in it. So
They look great.
So just an idea of what the old fixtures were. They were the old T8 fixtures. They were weathered. Some buildings were worse than others. And on the right, once again, you can see these low-profile high output LED panels. 835 LED fixtures the district installed as part of this. And there were over 1,000 light fixtures that had to be removed and reinstalled as part of the project. We were able to reuse some of them. Like I said, it was a mad scramble to get this many LED fixtures on such short notice, especially during the summer when we don't have board meetings to get change orders approved and everything else. So we had to get a little bit creative, but at the end of the day, 835 T8 fluorescent light fixtures were swapped out for LED fixtures, along with a few 2x2 LED fixtures that we did in some hallways and bathrooms and other areas. So this is the real, this is the slide that really puts it in perspective. Why did we take that kind of initiative? We had a cost that we weren't really anticipating, wasn't really worth it. So if you look at 835 LED fixtures, the usage for that is over 16,000 kilowatt hours. Multiplied out over 12 months, it's over 200,000 kilowatt hours with the T8 light fixtures. If you look at the LED light fixtures, it's almost 50% less. So if you just go with the savings based on a simple kilowatt hour cost of 20 cents, which is what the average is right now, first year savings on a monthly basis just from putting the new light fixtures in is $1,700, $20,000 year one. So you sit there and you look at the cost of the light fixtures and everything else. The product cost of all the light fixtures was $97,000, of which each and every fixture was eligible for an $80 per fixture rebate. So 835 multiplied by the $80 per fixture, there was a rebate of almost $67,000. So the net cost of the project was $30,000. 17 and a half months later, we will have reached our break-even point, and we will continue to save money moving forward every day thereafter.
Awesome job.
So, a lot of benefits. I will tell you, in all honesty, the greatest piece of this project was I think the appreciation from the staff, from the principals, the amount of flexibility, the amount of patience, the amount of trust that they had in the department getting this stuff done was more than I could have asked. And it's because of that we actually took on this much work, and I think, knock on wood, we were very successful. So that's a summary at this point.
I appreciate everything you do, but I also want to pay a compliment to the custodians at the high school. I know what it looked like last year,
Yep.
I know what it looked like this year.
Yep.
Your new head chief there is doing an amazing job, so please extend our appreciation.
Without a doubt.
And I know that you have a few more people on staff over there. I mean, you just walk in the building automatically, defense clean, everything is clean. Totally different feeling that I had from last year.
And while I appreciate that, and I will absolutely extend that, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say the same thing about all the buildings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because all the other buildings had a different level of expectation at the start of the year. It may not have been as noticeable. OBMS, I am so incredibly proud of what he's been able to accomplish as well. So there's been a lot of good things in the department.
Well, that was noted last year, OBMS, I saw it even last year, I saw that there was a difference.
And there's been a transition of staff even since last summer as well. So knock on wood, everything in that respect has been successful.
Yeah, I'm only pointing at the high school because that seemed to be the one that it most needs, so.
And I most definitely will spend.
As well as the custodians should be commended throughout this project. I know I was able to visit a bunch of schools, and at Cherokee, they were in the middle of trying to replace these lights while they were trying to get the building ready.
No doubt.
And they were working around these gentlemen. They were doing pieces that they could get done, almost working backwards, doing things. Didn't matter. They got it done. They got all the buildings ready, and the buildings looked fantastic come the first week of school. So they did a fantastic job. This project worked great. The lights are awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
Great job by everybody.
I will pass it on to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.